Thank you for joining us this week. We once again live, the J.Gerrard Show. Y'all don't believe just how live this is. We was just right in the middle of some scuffling here going on. Not really scuffling, but I'm glad to be here tonight. Got my brother Joe Liner here, and you all know my co-host every week, Elijah James.
Yep.
Still got my lid on. We're gonna go ahead and remove that. But how's everybody week going? How's your week? How's everything going with your brother Joe? Let me say something about Joe before we get a little further in. This was a gentleman last week when we came in with the Legacy Over Lust sweatshirt clothing line. This is the entrepreneur behind that vision. Joe Liner, he's a serial entrepreneur. He been in the barber industry for years, done a lot of other things. Joe, tell us something about yourself, man. Welcome to the show again. He's one half of We the Blueprint podcast. So we missing Anthony Little tonight, but Joel is here, and Joe is gonna tell us who he is.
All right. Again, Joel Liner, originally Alabama native, but I work with James. Been here for about 10 years and been at the shop. How long been? About 7 years at the shop.
About 7 years. Has been, yeah.
Yeah. So been cutting hair a long time.
Come on, my jacket.
The latest deal is Legacy Over Lust, which is the t-shirts and hoodies. Soon we'll be doing job sets as well. There we go. Appreciate you. I'm ready. Okay. Yeah, so that's where we at with that.
Legacy.
And We the Blueprint.
Yeah, talk to us about
Yeah, We
it.
the Blueprint.
Well, let's go back. Well, go ahead. You can.
We the Blueprint podcast. We talk about pretty much everything. We've talked about relationships. We've talked about finances. Last week we had a brother that has a shop down on Sunset, and he was talking about revitalizing the community down that way. So
in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, yeah.
Okay.
Samuel Glickman as a Bravado Grooming is his shop.
Okay.
So yeah, that's it, man. Just trying to keep it going.
So what is Legacy Over Lust? What is that? Because we kind of went into it last week talking about it a little bit.
Everybody
what
has
it
that
meant to us.
question.
Yeah, what is that? What does that mean?
I'm still working on just the elevator pitch on it, but pretty much anything that keeps you from your legacy being your goals, your dreams, your hopes, good living.
Okay.
And then you have your lust, where most people consider that to be think about sex, but really it could be anything.
You can lust for a lot of stuff.
Anything that deters you from your path
Okay.
can be a lust. You know what I mean? It could be something as simple as you always out here trying to grind and not making your kids games.
Right. That's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that that's not important, but you know, you can take one off.
Right.
Yeah. You know, sometimes we get so use it as an excuse. I'm always chasing the bag.
Right.
But you find most people like that that's always chasing like that don't have anything.
Yeah, that's true.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it could be out, you know, I said it's not just sex, but, you know, that could be the case. You know, you putting your whole livelihood, your family at risk and everything.
That's pretty
out
big.
here chasing something that doesn't even,
that's really
don't care
big.
about you.
Right.
Something that's any kind of temporary thrill to me is lust.
Right.
You know what I mean? You setting up you starting a whole pattern within your family
based off of
chasing one singular thing that can mess your life up forever.
Instead of thinking of the legacy of
instead of thinking of the legacy of it, right? You know what I mean?
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. You got to put all that on the back of a t-shirt. I'll wear that one. Ain't nobody gonna be around me that long to read it either, but they get the point. But that's nice. Yeah. And We the Blueprint is the podcast you guys, like you said, was talking about. You talk about a lot of different things.
Right.
We do the same here. We started out a long time ago and had the guys, him and Anthony on. I think it was actually our first show, our premiere show.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all came on. And so I'm glad to have you back, man. I appreciate you coming back. Elijah, what's going on with you this week?
Man, same. He just sat there and said, these guys out here chasing this coin.
Right.
But y'all know I don't have as much drama. working and being involved with around me, knowing what's going on around me. I could tell you what's on my mind and my heart was that little 9-year-old girl up there in New York.
Yeah.
I saw that. I saw
yeah,
a
that
little
thing-
piece of it. I didn't
oh,
really see all of it.
Man, and I just want to say this. This is what's on my heart. You know, a lot of time we get into talking about relationships and talking about this, that, and the third. But a lot of times there's some good men out there, some good brothers out there doing it. And as she began to scream for her daddy,
Right.
you know, that just got me.
Yeah.
Right.
And, you know, they'll tell you that, you know, watch it, you know, this may be hard. And I
Right.
sat there and watched that, man, and I was just speechless.
Right.
And so I thought to myself when coming today, I want to just shout out and do a heads up and shout out all the men that are standing in the gap, that are doing what they need to do to
Right.
keep their
Being
family
real
going.
man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And even like what you said, it's more to man or keeping your family going than just chasing coins.
Right.
Because you know you can be
Legacy.
you can be a dad, you can be a good provider, but that don't make you a good father.
Right.
Right.
So so to all the men that take time to listen,
Right.
to be aware of what's around them, and I'm to the family that was involved in that, my heart goes out with you. My prayers. The little girl gonna be traumatized, and to
sad.
handcuff her.
Right.
So
And
she was handcuffed
She was
and
handcuffed, and they sprayed her with pepper spray.
Yeah.
she was already handcuffed.
And they handcuffed her, sprayed her with pepper spray, and threw her in the back of the car and closed the door.
Yeah.
And she back her. Now you handcuffed. She 9 years old, pepper spray in her eyes, eating her up. So you know that's where I'm
Wow.
at. So when you said that, that's what my mind was today.
We got a
I
new
just sat there.
president, but some stuff ain't changed yet.
Yeah.
Huh? We still has the work is still got to be done.
Yeah.
So you know,
The work is still got to be done.
I hope they pursue them. I hope they get all of them because ain't no sense in that.
Got to keep
She's 9
protection
years
on the
old.
fire. Yeah.
And I was looking at it, and the cops, the lady was like, "You acting like a child."
Mm-hmm. Was it a
Right,
cop?
that's
A
what she
woman?
was.
Yeah, it was a woman.
Yeah.
She is a child.
A woman cop did that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Damn.
she
that's
is a child.
That's different.
So like the lady was saying, so you treating her like a person, like a grown man. She's a child.
right.
She's screaming out for her daddy.
I'm gonna say this though, because I know the first thing a lot of people think when they hear this, well, y'all don't say this when Lil Mook and them down there shooting the bullets up and killing each other. The cops are the people who's supposed to be protecting us.
Right.
We need to, we always say stuff that we hear
Yeah.
other people say, like, you don't never report when, you know, it's black on black. Listen, the cops are they're getting paid to protect people. So that's different.
Right.
That's
Your money.
different.
Absolutely.
Your
It is
tax
not the
dollars.
same at all.
Yeah,
It's not the same at all.
Yeah.
That's the shortest comeback, you know,
So
to
that's
real life stuff. Yeah,
Right.
that's
Yeah.
that's
I,
right.
I hate when people use that too, because you know, with the that's what a lot of people say with Black Lives Matter.
Right.
Well, where were they when
Black on
you know,
black
black
crime.
on black crime? But that's not what that organization is for.
Right.
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 You see what I'm saying?
We're trying to
If you-
stop the
right.
law.
You know, that's like saying, you know, when they put all the pink on and they talking about cancer awareness,
Right.
and they say, well, what about cataracts?
Right.
Well, this is not for that.
Right.
Right.
You know,
Right.
people
right.
that have that,
This is-
yeah, that's
right.
that's a serious issue. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But that's not what this is for.
Right.
Right.
The
Black
pink ain't
Black
for that.
Lives Matter was not created for
Right.
black on black violence.
No.
Now, if you want to do that, you start your own organization.
That's right.
Right.
But don't
That's
try
right.
to lump that all into
Into one thing.
one thing. And like you say,
Mm-hmm.
this is a different scenario because you talk about, you know, when Pookie and doing this and that. My tax dollars don't go to what Pookie does.
Right. My tax dollars didn't put bullets in Pookie gun,
Exactly.
but they put bullets in the cop gun.
Exactly.
Right.
You know, that's a whole nother
That's a whole different conversation. Then you turn
situation.
around and shoot the kids with
right.
it.
And especially I don't know the whole details, but the article that I kind of read, I just saw a little bit. They said that the girl was in a crisis, in a mental crisis.
Yeah.
And the police were called.
Right.
In a mental crisis.
Right.
Right. And so, you know, it's been several cases where somebody in the family is having a mental issue.
Right.
And they call the police in, and the police end up shooting them.
So do you
Right.
think they undertrained or what?
Well, the whole, you know, and another thing is people put a spin on defund the police.
Okay.
Defund the police is not saying we want to get rid of the police.
Right.
What it's saying is in instances like that, it needs to be a group that when they get a call and say, hey, this is, you know, it's a mental situation or whatever else, it needs to be somebody trained in that area.
Right. To dispatch
Going out.
us. Right.
You know, whether police or not, if it's a policeman, then it's a policeman that's trained to deal with
Right.
someone in that area.
Right.
Because, you know, they just been trained to lock people up.
Right.
That's all they've been trained to do.
Right.
They ain't
Or
trained to
shoot
have
people.
no compassion, nobody,
Right.
you know. Now, if you go out and the person looks like, you know,
I mean, but
you or me, you may have some compassion.
Right.
But somebody else, you're not gonna have that same.
But I mean, don't they go with the? I mean, they go with the territory though, right? Okay, you're a cop. Your job takes place in the neighborhood. This is what the neighborhood look like.
Right.
This is what people look like in the neighborhood.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What, your cops are called when it ain't right. Okay,
Right.
we ain't calling you for happy time.
Right.
So you're called to deal with whatever going on. Because a lot of time people they will call you. Granted,
Right.
you might not be the one that need to be there, but if a cat beating on his old lady, they call the cops. If a kid lost, they call the cops. Somebody robbed the bank, they call the cops. So when you get there in these mental cases, these kids or whatever it was, because when you said that, my mind went back to the brother that from the military was going
The
through a
naked
mental
guy?
crisis.
Yeah.
And he took his clothes
And they
off and they
killed him.
killed him.
Right.
So I mean,
Right. And where's the threat behind that?
Yeah, that's the whole thing though, right there. Because I mean, if they ain't met your threat,
right.
you know, you standing there with a utility belt on with guns and stun guns and tasers and pepper
Right.
spray and
Maybe it needs to be another a unit you called in. Maybe we need another number.
Right.
You need 911.
like
we need
war.
811 or something else.
Right.
for
You know what I'm
right.
saying?
Yeah.
Send a psych truck.
Yeah. Don't send these because them cats ready to shoot.
Yeah. And like you said, she was asking for her father. I thought about that too. I thought how he must feel knowing
Yeah.
that she was calling for him
Uh-huh.
and he was not there.
He was not
Right.
there. That's what I thought about.
Right.
That he
that
was not there.
Right. And that trauma is gonna be with her.
Right.
Right.
Man.
That's gonna be with her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's real ugly, man.
So that's I mean, you know.
That's
so-
real ugly. And everybody's celebrating and, you know, oh,
Yeah.
well, we glad Trump out. But it's a lot of this stuff in America
Man.
ain't changed.
Right.
It's a lot hadn't changed.
Oh, me? Okay.
What you mean?
Oh.
Well, I can hear you. I can hear myself, though. It look like I'm choked up.
Yeah, that's all right.
Okay, but yeah.
Okay.
That hasn't changed
No.
about America. You know what I mean? And we can say, oh, what's the changing of the guard and this and this and that. Ain't too much, really. You know what I mean? And now, right now, everybody looking and saying, well, they going to let these people get off with the insurrection.
Right.
You know what I mean?
What about the police chief in Harris, Georgia? Police chief. You saw that?
Right. I mean, America's still looking like America. We just changed guards at the, you know what I mean? They not getting the signals from the top no more.
Right.
Right.
Not like it was, but
He's sitting there talking about, well, at least what they crying for. We
they
gave them
them
food.
and
Yeah.
all this,
Man,
please.
come on.
See, because that'll make you want to do your homework and see who getting all the welfare in the
Right.
middle of the country.
Right.
Where they, all that red area out
Right.
there where there's nothing else but welfare check and government land.
Yeah.
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 I don't want to talk
Yeah.
about that.
Nah,
That's the
man.
whole middle of the country right now.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And these big, mega centers and cities and all that is what's dumping the money in the system to
Right.
carry those people out there because ain't nothing out there.
And you know, they looking at those
Speaking of working, a crop in a field,
those stimulus
but
checks.
you subsidize. So you getting paid not to grow a crop.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's welfare, either way you want to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
Either way you want to look at it.
But
Talking about a
man,
good, honest day's work. You ain't seen the honest day's work.
Right.
No.
No, not at all. Anyway, but Biden them got us wondering, everybody wondering if anybody got your 1,400 from Biden.
No.
He say they talking about what they want to do. If they want to give you $1,000 or they want to give you 1,400. The Republicans want to take $400 out the deal. And
Man.
as long as they not arguing over the little money,
Right.
it was $1,500 when they started. It's about $6 by the time it hit your account.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna be not went that far up into that little 14 or 15 they talking about getting you. So,
I hear them and I understand to be physically responsible, to be financially responsible. That
Right.
is. You know, they saying, well, this, that, and the third, and it's gonna be all this $1 trillion.
Right.
But the last time I checked, America ain't going nowhere.
Right.
Nah.
You know, when you came in the world, it was a deficit. When you leave, it's gonna be one.
Yeah.
Right.
So I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's pathetic. They sit back and treat that money like it's their money,
Like it's real money.
and you know they forget that they're getting that out of every transaction that is moving.
Right.
Ain't the government getting their money out of everything moving.
Everything you do.
So you know,
What I find funny though is I vividly remember being younger in school and they talked about all this stuff, and I would say, well, why they just can't print more money?
right.
And they would always say, well, it doesn't work like that. You just
Right.
can't do that. If
Right.
you do that, then that'll throw this off,
All
this.
The
No.
value of it go. Now what they're doing?
What did they do to get everybody just printing more
Yeah,
money?
they
Right.
punching that button.
Right. It's got you put the value on what it is.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. It ain't backed by nothing right now.
Right. So I think with the pandemic, it shifted everything around.
Right.
Everything around.
Right.
You know, when they said, oh, but you got to be at work these amount of hours and this and this and this, so we need you
Man.
here.
Right.
We need you there. Well, now, when you couldn't get there,
Right.
you still was able to function.
Right.
You know, and it's going when everything eventually does open back up,
Right.
then you're gonna have people saying, well, why we just can't do the meeting over Zoom? Why we gotta come in and
Mm-hmm.
because you realize now it ain't no need to. I think I saw an article one time, they said if the average person came into work and did whatever it was they had to do each and every day, it'd take 4 hours.
That's it.
4 hours, right?
To do
But
what
you
they
just
do.
stretched it out,
For 8 hours.
right? You know, you come
So y'all
in,
right.
get
you
your
bush-
coffee,
Right.
walk around a
Got
little
lunch,
bit,
right.
have your little BS.
But you got to
meeting.
know they know that. You got to know they know that.
Yeah.
Production know that. And
Yeah.
eventually you got to come, you know,
Right.
you got to come full circle.
Wow.
Like, you know what? Them little 4 hours, man, we got a robot now.
Mm-hmm.
They can pack them boxes.
Better know it.
Man,
You know?
man.
And that's really the way it is. I mean, until this virus is over with, I think it's pretty much like a welfare state. Because the vaccine is not getting out.
Right.
Okay, you're not putting that out.
Right.
Okay, and more people are catching the virus. Okay, you can't really open now. A lot of people don't know this. They already hit the EOE, so you can be mandated to have been vaccinated to go to work.
Right.
That's already, you know. So the people at the jobs know that they can push that eventually. But what they're trying to do is give them time to roll this vaccine out, give people time to get in line. But we already in line for the you ain't vaccinated, you ain't working type scenario.
Right.
Now, that's if it don't change. If the course that we on don't change.
Right.
And it's not changing. Like, it's accelerating.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's really where we headed to, where basically, whether you thought you were going to get it or not, eventually you're going to have to get it.
Yeah.
And at this point, we don't know what version or which one would be.
Right, because
What's
now they
what?
got the one they got now 2 shots. But I heard somebody else saying that
They got it down
one of
to
the other
one.
companies was going to
Moderna.
do it to 1 shot.
Right.
Wow.
I done heard everything.
Yeah,
Let's break the dosage in half and give them half a bump. And then, you know, so they changing it up.
yeah,
They really changing it up, trying to figure out which way to go with it.
You're gonna have to have it to fly in a little bit, so
Right.
you ain't gonna be able to get
yeah.
on
See,
no
that's
plane.
gonna be a dilemma.
Of course.
You got to have it to fly.
Of course.
Get either or gas up the
Of
peso.
course. So, yeah.
Peso. Pay your gas card up. I'm just saying, you got to
Man.
gas up the peso.
Right.
Yeah, but you restricted to the U.S. then.
Hey, listen, man, it's definitely it's a changing world out here, and it will make it more. It makes it more. You know what I mean? In one sense, you can look at it one way, and in another sense, you can say, well, you know what? It's really time to get back to the basics. That's really what I think that
Yeah.
we're coming all the way back to. We back to the basics. You like we saw talking about last week, like you say, y'all was talking about on your podcast. We talk about a lot relationship.
Mhm.
You talk about community development.
Right.
Talking about people starting businesses and. You know what I mean? It's
Empowerment.
kind of going all the way back to basic. Like, okay,
Right.
if you're going to have it, you got to create it yourself,
Yeah,
you know, and you got to be able to manage it from a local, you
Yeah.
know, from a local.
that's one of the positives that's come out of all this.
Right.
Is that I think in our community we're starting to try to work more
Mhm.
together
Mhm.
than we were previously.
Mhm.
So hopefully, you know, when things so-called get better,
Mhm.
we don't lose sight of that and go back to how it used to be.
Back to mainstream.
Right.
That's what we need to realize. Mainstream was sucking our blood.
Right.
It was sucking our blood. Like, I mean, we was flowing all our revenue, all our income, everything we had into it.
Right.
And for what?
Yeah.
For nothing really in return.
They ain't giving you nothing back for your money.
No, nothing. They're going to give you the product. They ain't going to create no marketplace for you.
No.
You can shop with us all day, but you can't come stand next to us with your product.
Right.
You can't be creative, you know. Yeah.
But pay here and leave.
Yeah, pay and go.
So why you think our memory is so short? Because remember when the George Floyd situation happened, we were paying attention to which businesses were showing some kind of social responsibility toward our community. As that died down, or even if you look like with the whole Gucci situation and H&M and all these other companies that have blatantly showed disrespect toward our community, yet it's plenty of us that still shop with them.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't understand it.
I'll tell you what I think happened. Like when we started being more aware of who we were spending our money with. When the Black Lives Matter thing, a lot of people jumped in. That gave a lot of corporate America the opportunity to purge their image. So Nike, we with it. Black Lives Matter, just do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
First ones, yeah.
Everybody jumping in.
Right.
Everybody jumping in. So that counters the flow. Because you might have stopped buying Nike if they didn't jump in, and might start buying Bubba Johnson sneakers or something.
But
you know what I mean? But Nike said, hey, we're gonna play the game and drop the check over here just to keep the attention from. And then you have to think too, how who controls, the media flow. It's like, okay, well, we can't just let all this currency because these people are upset flow back into their neighborhood. Some of y'all gonna have to line up, on the banks of the river and get some of this flow.
Right.
Because if it all goes back to the neighborhood, next thing we know, we're gonna have, another Black Harlem or something.
We're gonna have another community to bomb.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
But that's really, it's very strategic how they doing it.
Right.
But I think the biggest thing too, and a lot of people don't talk about it, and I think as men, like, it make you think like, how protected are we in this society overall, and our ability to protect our own.
Right.
Just like we started out talking about the little 9-year-old.
Right.
Our ability to protect our own, bro. When you see images of these people running up on the Capitol and doing all this stuff, and then you see your government, your elected officials act like they don't want to do nothing about it.
Yeah.
As a man,
that's a problem.
it's a problem.
Yeah.
And I feel the need to, we ain't finna go up to protect the Capitol, but I definitely need to take a more defensive stance where I'm at, because I see that the law allows a certain fraction of the citizen to do whatever.
Right.
Now imagine if the same way they ran up on the Capitol, well, say they ran up on a black church. Who's to say? That was the federal government building.
Right.
So who's to say they can't? We mad now? We gonna run up on? We gonna run up on this, or we gonna run up on that?
Right.
We already went as high up as we can go, and nothing happened.
Right.
Yeah.
So everything below that is really game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was looking at a program, a newscast and a lot of the hate groups thinking that was a success.
Right.
They're counting that as a success.
Yeah.
Right.
So believe it or not, the future ain't looking good.
Right.
Cause it's gonna happen.
Imagine if
It's
that was
gonna
your
happen
goal
again.
and we got that far, and we back at the house, back in the double wide talking about it, and ain't nothing happened.
Right.
Yeah.
You do feel like you got away with something.
Yeah.
And they still talking about it, they still doing all this, but ain't nothing happening. The only people that really got yanked up was the ones that went way out their way to be
The
extra, the dude with the bull horns on and all that.
Dude with the zip ties.
All that. Yeah, y'all came in dressed out to be picked up.
And
They were
they'll
hollering
get a
kill.
slap on the wrist.
Right.
Yeah.
Different America, y'all.
Yeah.
But at the same time, and I hate to say this, I know we got a lot of Christian viewers, and we pray for the health of our president and all this and that. But Joe Biden is an old man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's an old man. You know what I mean? And I mean, that could be the linchpin right there. That could be the linchpin. Everybody, oh, well, this is truly historical, whatever.
A lot of
anything happened to Joe,
yeah,
and we got a sister stepping up
yeah, and
to be the president,
right?
It's gonna be a problem. I mean, just think, all the Proud Boys standing by, standing down.
Yeah.
You know, now y'all done did, you know what I mean? And she this and she that. You tried the same. These are the same people that were saying Obama went American.
Right.
You know what I mean? All this stuff be playing, it plays itself together. You know what I mean? It plays in from one administration to the next.
Yeah.
But look where we at now with this fragile president. He's very old and very fragile. And I see him trying to circulate to do this first 100 days. But I'm like, dude, hang that up, man. It's a pandemic. I'm more worried about you catching COVID.
Yeah.
We trying to keep you alive, man. It's more of like be still type deal.
Yeah, well, our main thing is that we have to, I mean, the politics is cool. You know, you get out, you do your civic duty, you vote and all that. But aside from that, I don't like to spend too much thought and action on it, because the main goal, I think, for us is to put ourselves in a position to where we're okay no matter who's in office.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, they'll say, well, such and such didn't do this for black people, such and such didn't do. Well, what you
What you do for you?
Right.
Right. I mean, what you think was gonna happen, realistically?
It boils down to economics, really.
Right.
You gotta have your money right.
Right.
You know
now,
what I mean?
Now, you know,
that's how it works.
The media and the hate groups and everybody else will have you think that
it's about that.
Black folk is what's bringing this country down.
Right.
What what they say? We 13, 14, even at 15%.
Right.
You know what I mean? When is 15% is a tip.
Right.
That you don't miss giving.
Right. Exactly.
15% ain't really did nothing to nobody ever.
Right. Ain't made a difference
You know what I mean?
either way.
Right. It don't make a difference either way.
Right.
So if we that bad,
right.
You know, it ain't enough of us to be that bad.
It can't be. Right.
Now, if you're talking about 40, 50%, that's something different.
Right.
You know, just like you was talking about the, you know, most people that have that certain, you know, warped mindset, when you was talking about welfare earlier, they believe that it's all black folks.
All black folks, right.
But the numbers say otherwise.
Absolutely.
And the numbers would have to say otherwise because we're only
15%.
Exactly.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
right. So and I think it's so disconnected to where when you go out there and say we're gonna cut off Obamacare, those people start cheering.
Right.
And it's like it's gonna affect y'all more anyway.
Exactly.
We over here on whatever care.
Right.
We ain't even on Obamacare.
Never care.
Right. We don't never.
The problem with cutting out Obamacare, they don't have anything.
There's nothing.
Fall back on.
There's nothing.
And they hadn't came up with anything to fall back on all this time.
Right.
Trump was gonna do that when he went in.
Right.
And he gone, and Obamacare still rolling.
Right.
I think they just had so you know.
Yeah. What I noticed about the past few Republican presidents is that, and it's perplexing to me because, you know, I was thinking, okay, well, when Obama got in there, you know, he was somebody younger, he had some swag about himself, you know, very intelligent, articulate, and I'm thinking, y'all ain't got nobody young on y'all side,
nobody
to do the same,
right?
But that kind of let me know that okay, we want somebody in there that we can control,
right.
You know what I mean? Which you gonna be controlled either way. You know, you're just the face of the nation. You're not really, you know, running it per se. But I'm just thinking, y'all ain't got nobody but these old, antiquated
billionaires,
right? And everybody that has come in, the past two Republican presidents that have come in, their whole platform has not been being innovative or coming up with something new. Their whole thing is just
the old stuff.
No, their whole thing is taking away what the previous
president
so it's one
did.
step forward, two steps back.
Right.
Yeah.
So we gonna get, you know, that this whole presidency. We getting rid of this. We getting rid of this. So and so see, so
Soon as he come in, he X you out what you did and then put it back.
Right.
Yeah.
right, which is history.
Right. Right.
Nobody leaves what the previous ruler did.
Right. They
You know
come
what I
and
mean?
tear it down.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
okay, you look at the Egyptians.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that let you know that these were people of color,
Mm-hmm.
they got rid of.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So they knocked the big nose off the pyramid.
Right.
They whitewashed the walls
Right.
and then came up with a story. Oh, well, climate change.
Did this right.
Right. Come on.
Right.
Come on.
Working real hard for it.
And my thing is, okay, even if you want to say that, okay, these were not black people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, even if you say that and people change throughout the years or whatever else, look who's there now.
Right.
They not white.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right. So what is our solution though? Because we got, like you just said, okay, we got the pyramids. We can point to that.
Right.
Okay. We can point to that. We can point to, I think with us, the biggest thing about us is we have to be, and I heard people say this, we are the living history.
Right.
We are the history.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We are the history of our people.
Right.
Because anywhere we lay a stone, they gonna blast it, bust a nose. You know what I mean?
Right.
So basically, it's a legacy and a heritage that we carry with us. Our
Right.
culture, who we are. You know what I mean? What we stand for morally, what we stand for. You know what I mean? As a people, and I think it's good for us to redefine that, especially right now.
Right.
Especially right now, because we're trying, especially African Americans, to identify very hard with somewhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we had the conversations in the shop all the time with the brothers from Africa, and they, oh man, you should come, and sound good, but it still feel like an invitation to a third cousin house to me. You know what I mean? And that's just how I feel. Maybe it's because
Right.
I've been over here so long, but it just don't seem culturally so far, separated. Don't really seem like
Right.
a homecoming, or like it would feel like a homecoming.
Right.
Don't know, haven't done it. You know what I mean? But that don't always flow that way,
Yeah.
because they don't always see us and be receptive to, yeah, y'all are brothers.
Right.
You know what I mean? This or this and that.
Right.
So as a people.
Well, we definitely brothers here.
Oh yeah.
But when we get over there,
Right.
It's gonna be the same thing.
When we get over there, we right. You gonna flip on me or what?
Yeah. But I think it's just a matter of learning your history and exposing yourself to. Don't always rely on what other people say. This right here is your greatest tool right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like we
Right.
in the shop all the time. Somebody say something, we like, oh, okay, all right. I'm
gonna Google
nah,
it.
that ain't.
Yeah,
that ain't
Google
true.
Google done shut down some arguments in the shop.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Trump was pardoning everybody. Oh, they pardoned Big Meats. Like, no, I don't.
No, me still in there. I'm looking at his bad ticket
no,
now.
I don't see that.
Yeah, we gonna get to it.
Yeah, so that's all it is. Just but what made me think about also too, and it's funny because I was thinking about church
Mm-hmm.
and how in a lot of the black churches they had the white Jesus,
Mm-hmm.
and I guarantee you, if back then they made a push to have black images, they would have got pushed back.
Pushback, they might have got hung. You finna hang up, bro. You put a black Jesus in a church back in the day.
But I told you when I went to my father-in-law's funeral, it was a Catholic church. In front of the church, they had a big mural, white Jesus, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on the other side, they had like a small little statue, white Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Other side, they had a small little statue of white Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Along the walls, smaller pictures, and along the back, they were all black Jesus. So somebody knows the truth up in here.
Right.
But they choosing to put one up front where you really gonna see it.
Right.
And
so
all the
when
other
you
ones
sitting
in the
down, behind you is the black Jesus.
Right.
That
But on the
almost
wall,
feel
like a billboard.
That feel like the bus. Damn, you're on the back of the bus. We had to sit in the back.
Right.
At church,
Yeah.
Wow.
But for what?
I don't know, but that's what we have to, and now we're in more information. You can't really hide stuff like you used to be able to
Right.
hide it and twist it and turn
Right.
it. It takes a whole lot more effort now
Right.
to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're getting better. We just have to. It's going to be a slow walk for our
The
community,
identity of who
but it's
we
getting
are.
better,
I
yeah.
think the identity of who we are collectively
Yeah,
is gonna have to
Yeah.
emerge at
So
some
I think
point.
it's changing. We just can't be so critical of each other.
We can't. We
You
can't.
know.
But that was the belly we was born out of.
Right.
We was born, before we even, breached into life. It was, you against this one, that one against this one against that one.
Right.
And that's when we in bondage. And then when you let us out of bondage, you know what I mean? Now you on our back, plus all of that other stuff that was
Right.
already put into it.
Yeah.
So that's a real ugly thing. I think, and that's interesting that you said that. I want to bring this point up too. And we had a whole different conversation prepared, but you went on this right here. I want to say this. What do you think the role of the black church? Now, I mean, we all, I don't know how you grew up going to church, but I know, me and Elijah grew up. I don't know what the role. What do you think? Do you feel like there was a role that was supposed to be played that either have been played or have been underplayed or have been played in such a traditional way that it wasn't able to make the adjustment? Where is the leadership right now in the community? That's one thing we have to look at, because every time something happened in our community, what they doing now? It used to be, you go get Jesse and Al. They done played out.
Right.
Now they getting your boy. What's your boy name? Crump.
Oh, Ben Crump.
Ben Crump.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And these are the voices. I mean, where is the real black leadership? And not just for the media's sake, somebody to go out there and say something to the media, somebody who's actually in our communities doing the work.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's what I think we as a family need to start focusing on. And well, you can go and you can find your roots.
Right.
But if you've been here in this country for, as an African American for a certain amount of generations, we are your history.
Right.
You know what I mean? You looking at your history, you looking at your kindred,
Right.
you looking at the people who are the most familiar with who you are and what your struggles have been. But we have been taught to be separate, to be isolated, and to distrust each other.
I'm pretty much saying what you're saying on your black leaders, and when these things happen now, it should be your folks, like you just said. It should be your dad,
Right.
because that's where we at now.
Right.
And when you look at it, you think it's a bad thing, but then if you look again,
It's good.
it's a good thing,
Right.
because now what happened is we don't have just one figure. We got a figure in every house.
Every
Right.
house. Right.
We got all us with like-minded brothers.
Right.
Now that is the term. I like that
That's how
term,
you
but
build
that's
a
the
people.
term that scares people.
Like-minded.
Like-minded brothers.
Yeah.
Because then that's where your children and your family and everybody fall back to the strong man of the house.
Right.
If you take the strong man out the house, then the thieves come in and take the spoils. You got to bind him first.
Right.
So the thing of it is this: it should be daddies, it should be mamas, and it's just not gender. It's daddies, mamas. It's
We're all
people
leaders.
who knows the story, who
Right.
know
Right.
what they done, who remember,
Right.
that can tell the story correctly.
The
And
people
the
that
right
were in the
dividing.
community.
Yeah. That won't distort the truth.
Right.
And that's how you do it. That's how we all, what, it's amazing us as a people, how we have always, the truth have been buried, but yet it still won't go away. You can't kill it.
Right.
You can hide it, but it still pops up over here.
Right.
They bury it here, it comes up over there.
Right.
Right.
And so that's what I say. So with us, all of us.
Right.
And you know what? To me, they ought to be worried about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm feeling that more than, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like, and it's more effective than what it traditionally has been, taking it back to the church, because now you have brothers outside the wall that may not be like, hey, brother, I'm blessed and highly favored.
Nah.
But he might be like, bro, you need to get your shit together, you know?
Right.
Right.
And those are the same, one of them is a word of life and the other one ain't. And it just depends on how you gauge it. But to have more real people in place
Right.
is always more effective than to have this mass gathering where we all are inspired, and then as we move away from this place, we lose that inspiration.
Right.
Because once we back in our regular lives and in our communities, we're not effective. You know what I mean? And see, so we have to diminish the idea that one person can't make a difference. One person can. And another thing, and this is another thing, the reason I think that this mindset is fought against, because I honestly believe we love us.
Yeah.
And we pushing it, oh, you know, black folk don't, you know, we don't never stand and stick together.
Well.
We need to stop repeating that. That's not true. Guess what? We love us. We get each other's style. We know what each other want. We create the stuff that we go buy from them.
Right.
It's just that the creator have to sell it to them so they can sell it to us.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So we really love what we produce. We just in a system to where I can't come to you and get with you without the man in the picture. You know what I mean? So now what things are doing now is waking us up to that.
Right.
And it's waking us up to that. And like you just said, we don't need Al Sharpton. I ain't gonna say, Al, keep doing what you're doing wherever
Right.
you doing it.
Right.
But when we have however many million brothers out here that can stand up and be accountable where you at,
Right.
you know, be accountable to your household, be accountable to your children, be accountable to the woman in your life.
So it starts with it starts in the church, but it don't stop there.
Right.
It goes to the barbershop. It goes to the coach or
Right.
the little league team. It goes to everywhere you go.
Right.
That's where it goes.
Right.
So and as long as we can tell the truth, and don't get me wrong, we got some brothers out there that don't know.
Right.
We got some brothers that regurgitating some stuff that don't make sense.
Right.
But guess what? Time and chance will test everything.
Absolutely.
And so you will learn, you will know. And the
Right.
truth, you can't bury it.
Right.
It demands an answer.
And we have to be able to have the conversation. This is one thing I believe too, because and for me, I can always tell this is my because litmus test at the shop. We get all kind of brothers, the 1%ers, the 3, the 7, all of them, and we have all kind of conversations, spirituality, religion, you know, whatever that may be. When I hear the turn toward bitterness and anger and rage, okay, that for me is a litmus test for, you know what, we not headed in the righteous direction. Like we heading towards something very carnal, and we all can, you know, we can all go there because that's very much a part of our nature,
Right.
but it's not our highest nature.
Right.
And
That's like that.
and that is what you see. But on the same sense, it's hard for us to come together because of religion. A lot of times we are separated. Now, when we had this conversation at the shop about, you know, black people need to come together, and we hear some people say, well, you know, you still reading the same book that the slave master gave you. Okay. You hear that. You hear some people go into, I mean, I done heard it all from, you know, the ancient reptilians to the first people to, you know, all of this and that. All of that is true, all the mythology or whatever you want to come with or whatever you want to, but I boil it down to this. What is the living soul perpetrating? So what are you? All of that is whatever you said it was. So what's in you that's moving you? Is it all that stuff you just said? Are you motivated by, you know, love? Is it, you know, because they say God is love, and are you motivated by love? Are you motivated by the hate? Are you motivated by what you feel is the lack of justice? So you got vengeance. You know, what is driving you? Because to that thing, whatever that is, you are a servant. Whether it be your love for life, your anger. See, and that's what we have to remember. We are spiritual beings having a physical experience. So whatever, you can wake up tomorrow and become a slave to your anger. And you can go through your day mad all day long. Okay? So anger has been your God. Anger has directed your thoughts, your moods, and your actions. And probably the outcomes if you go that far with it. You know? Everything orchestrated. Just like you were saying when we came in about the different things on your lust that drives you over legacy. These are a lot of things that we missed because we get out here and we want to have the larger, broader philosophical conversation. Well, if you're not a Christian, I can't really deal with you, this and this and that. Okay, well, you sound like a hater anyway. So who really want to roll with a hater? If we have differences, we can talk about our differences. But when you get to the point where, well, you know what, I ain't gonna, okay, well, then you sound like you too big for this conversation. I'm too small for you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So these are the things that we have to look at. And I think with 2020, and then one reason I pointed out to the church, because I've seen and I pay attention, a lot of churches recalibrate during this period. A lot of churches, and this is something that I've always known, I've always felt, that we are the church.
Okay.
And this is according to the Bible to teach you that you are the church and you are the temple of the Holy Spirit. So when that happened, a lot of people weren't able to go out, things started to change. People started to take their religious practices into relationship, because now I can't go down there and exercise my religion. I'm going to have to really do something at home.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it became a lot more personal for a lot more people. So a lot more people are coming into where they're waking up and recognizing things within themselves. But then on a broader scale, when you turn around and look at all the things that were in place, things have changed. You know what I mean? The way people do church now have changed. The way everything have changed. So it's so much stuff in the environment that have changed, because now I feel like people looking for truth.
That's why I've been trying to jump in there.
Right.
Right there on that note. I say it like this. I hear the color. I hear the black and this and that, and I have no problem with that. Yeah, it's a whole lot to us as a race. What the nationality, the color of Christ, and all this, all of that's valid. All of that's for self-empowerment. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't knock that. But here's where Christ came, and here's where they missed him, and here's where if we're not careful, we'll miss him. He came with truth. Okay, so that now the truth is, he said that I am the way, the truth, and the light. He's the way. Now, not raising one nation or one race up or one race down. What he came for the hearts of man. That's why Jesus could ascend and he could talk to rich people, and then he could talk to poor people. He wasn't talking money or color or race. He was talking truth. And one thing about truth goes past your intellect, your ego. It deals with the heart. That's what God wants. And so when the heart is affected, the change start in you and me. That's when it's changed. That's when government sets up. Now, that's the government. You remember the Lord's Prayer, thy will be done, thy kingdom come. That's the kingdom he wants. He wants the kingdom to come out of you. And if all of us change here, that's the government.
That's the government.
So he's not necessarily talking about, well, we're gonna put them white folks down. No, he wants you to change. He want to speak truth to you. He want to change your heart, your identity. And so it goes past everything you've been taught, who you are, who you know. It's bigger.
It's liberating.
Kingdom is bigger.
It's liberating.
Yeah. So, and you know what? When the kingdom come right here, then I set my house in order. When the kingdom come right there, then he said, yeah, and guess what? Then his kingdom's coming. And so they missed it. They thought that they was going to overthrow the government, and we finna go like what them folks did over there on
They thought it was going to be an insurrection.
Insurrection. That's what they thought. And
he wasn't even coming for that.
I'm not coming for that.
That ain't what I'm doing.
See, I'm trying to liberate the kingdom, and I'm speaking
the kingdom
truth
within
to you.
Yeah.
I want to liberate you the way you see that. Yeah, you've been done wrong, and us, but then the Jews been done wrong, and then the folks in that, everybody been done wrong. But I want to liberate the truth. I want to liberate that in you. And when I can liberate you, you can go and liberate another brother. And when all us liberated, then the kingdom comes. So I just want to throw that in there. You got me excited. Now I ain't trying to go down there, bro.
Nah, that's good stuff.
I'm trying not to walk that.
That's good. But that's good stuff. And I really think that that's where we at these days. I mean, and when you look at, and man, this has really turned to, it made me think about just listening to you how the scripture that says in the last days that God was going to pour his spirit on all flesh. And that's really what I really, you see happen on a daily basis. People that you might done wrote off, people seeking truth. People turning toward, or letting go of things that have hindered them. You know what I mean? And overcome. We're living in those days.
And yeah, I'm trying not to go there, but I'm there. Over in Matthew 21, where he told he gave a parable, and he was talking to the religious folks. He was talking to the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the Sanhedrin Council. He was talking to all these spiritual leaders of their time. He told the parable was, if you fall upon this stone, it will break you. And then he said, but whom the stone falls on, it will crush them to powder. And what that parable means is, if you fall upon this stone with your religious self and all the stuff that you think you know, if you fall upon it, he's going to break all of that religion and tradition away. See, because, a lot of times people look at Christians off of what they saw in church growing up.
Mm-hmm.
And the truth of the matter is what you saw in church wasn't right.
Right.
A lot of times wasn't right.
Right.
Religious people.
Church folks are the most drama-filled and we act out.
Right.
But the bug comes when you live it. Okay,
Right.
So what he was saying, if you fall upon this stone, it's gonna break all of that. Right. If you yield to it and fall, it'll break that. But if you wait to judgment, this same stone is gonna judge you. It's gonna fall on you, and it's gonna crush you to powder. Right. So that's what he's talking about.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So every man got to deal with the cornerstone.
Right.
The stone that the builders rejected have became the cornerstone. The cornerstone of the religious building, the cornerstone of the religious foundation in that time, they rejected him. Mm-hmm. And that was his parable about him. He told him, he said, okay.
So would you say that you think that's a lot of our experience? Because a lot of us, and we sit around and talk,
right.
We came up going to church,
right,
or whatever. But for whatever reason or whatever,
right,
it just falls away from it. After a while, it just seemed like something you're doing, unless it's alive in you.
Right.
If it's alive in you, you kind of in it.
You live.
If it's something you just do, you can put that on the shelf eventually, like
right.
a book.
Right.
I mean, you could really pack it up and have it on the shelf.
But like I said, when I look at it, that's why when I deal with people, I don't, I'm who I am. I don't tell people who I am, because I believe if I talk, you'll figure it out quick.
Yeah.
And so that's the way you look. You don't have to we don't have to be strange. We don't have, and if ironically, if you go back and look at Jesus, he hung out with the disciples. When he got tired of them, he said, you know what, I gotta go.
Right.
And he'll walk off and go he'll go pray. Or
they'll find him with the sinners and the prostitutes.
He'll be with the prostitutes or the tax collectors.
Right.
The low down people, the thieves.
Right.
So.
And that's totally different from the image that we got these days.
No,
we can't imagine that much virtue being in choosing to be in places like that.
So a lot of times when you watch this, that's why me personally, I look at that. I try not to judge, because it is what it is.
Right.
We all gonna deal with it.
Right.
You ain't gotta. I don't argue with people about words.
Right.
Because the truth talks to your heart. And then if this ain't for you, then you ain't there yet. It's not your time.
But I honestly believe I believe that greatness, that every man, was given a measure of faith. I believe that we all have that ability. And that's the thing that make it so beautiful, because it's not just, just one, it's many.
Right.
And like the Bible said, Jesus Christ was the first fruit of many.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we look at him and be like, oh, yeah. No, that was just the first one. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a whole bunch of them like that. You know what I mean? And that's what we forget. So there's a lot of becoming on our part. Mm-hmm. And like you said, I like what you said. We don't have to be strange.
No.
It don't have to be strange. I used to wonder growing up why all the church guys shout the same and clap the same and act the same, because I didn't feel none of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? I went on none of that. I praise God the way I praise God, but it wasn't like them, And I think the most important thing to know is it don't have to be, because it used to be back in the day where if you ain't reading scripture, you ain't quoting scriptures like me, you don't really love God, or you some kind of infidel or something,
and, if you're not living it, why quote it? If you're not living it, if you're not living it, if people can't see the dip, if you're not living nothing, why are you quoting something?
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean,
your life ought to be the biggest.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one of the good. That's what I was about to say. Gooder. That's one of the good things now about churches is that people don't criticize so much other faiths.
Right.
Right.
You know, now, you know, like you said, if you're into something and I don't believe it,
Right.
Right.
then you know that's fine. But it's not up to me to go out and bash or tell you
Right.
that you're
Right.
gonna go to hell.
No.
Right.
Whereas back
right.
in the day, that's what they did.
Right.
Right.
You know,
Right. Yeah.
if you ain't speaking in tongues,
You on your way to hell.
you on your way to hell.
Right.
You know, if you don't go to church on Saturday, you on your way to hell.
Right.
If you go to church on Sunday, you on your way to hell. You know what I
Right,
mean?
right.
If you got drums in the church,
Right.
You on
You on
you
your way
on
to
your way
hell.
to hell. You
yeah.
know what I mean? Whereas now it's just a preference.
Yeah. It really is just a
It's
preference.
just really just a preference.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for me, whatever church I got to go to, you got to have get a word good,
Right.
and you got to have a good choir.
Right.
If
Oh,
either
yeah.
one of them is missing, then I really can't.
I ain't gonna be back.
All right, no offense.
gotta-
I can't
We all
write.
got our own flavor of Jesus. We
We
don't
got to
like-
call.
Go ahead, caller. You're J.Gerrard.
Hey, cuz, how y'all doing? This is Catrice.
Hey, Teresa.
Just want y'all to know I'm enjoying every word y'all saying. And I'm telling you what blessed me so much, how, I think Elijah was saying how, how God is just saving people, all walks of life. And, I listened to that because lately I just been asking God, Lord, let me see people through your lens, through your eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Don't want to judge nobody. I don't care how they look, where they come from, their background, what they have did. But God, I mean, it's like I just want to see people through God's eyes.
Right.
And that to me is so important, because
Right.
I believe, when we start seeing people the way God see them,
Right.
we won't be so judgmental.
Right.
Because like you said, I mean, God in the last day, He is pouring out His Spirit upon our flesh. He's saving the ones who we least expect.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, God is saving. He's saving. I mean, the ones who people have to put down to say that they had did too much. God gone with them.
Right.
No, He's not, because God is love.
He is. And I tell you what
so
really
I'm
surprised me. I
like,
done seen some folks that I thought was just hardcore, just doing
Yeah.
good deeds out of their heart. And I'm like, damn, I didn't even know they had a heart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But you can't judge people, like you
Right.
said.
Uh-uh.
And you can't look on surface and think somebody won't just because of what you think. You know?
A lot of times, like I said earlier, a lot of times church folks get judged by folks you saw growing up. And
Exactly.
you don't know what they living. You don't
Right.
know how they are. We
Right.
just know the show they put on every Sunday.
Right.
Okay. And I'm not, and then again, it may not be.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people don't know. But in this dispensation, in this time where we live, we've come into a era where truth.
Right.
Like I said again, you can't bury it, you can't kill it, and
Yeah.
God will reveal Himself. And you know what? I'm gonna say this, and God has done so much for us to talk to Him, for you to talk to Him, for you
To make it
talk,
very personal.
to make it personal.
Yeah.
So that's why
Yeah.
when you can't judge nobody. How can you judge another man's servant?
Right.
You don't know what
Mm-mm.
person.
Right.
If they ain't acting like you, that don't make them wrong.
Right.
Cause go look at the
Right.
prostitutes. They didn't do what Jesus did, but guess what? He loved them just as much as those church folks.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
I'm
And
go ahead.
I think a lot of times, when the saints, hear what I say, the saints of God start judging, you know what happens?
Mm-hmm.
They begin to take on their self-righteous spirit,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
as if they never did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
So
that's
that's why we have to be very careful. I mean, what we say about God's people. You just don't know. And a lot of times, we don't know, how that person got in that predicament. We just don't know, man.
Right.
We don't know.
Right.
So we got to be very careful what we say.
Right.
Best thing when we do is just pray. Pray
It's-
for them.
it's
Pray for
hard.
everybody.
It's hard. Like the one before that, even when I was telling about the parable of the two boys. One man go to his son and says, go to his father. Well, the father go to his son, first son, and say, hey, go work in the vineyard. His son look him in the face and tell him, no, I ain't going. And he leaves. He goes to the second son and say, go work in the vineyard. The second son say, okay, I go. Now, the first son goes back, changes his mind, and go and work. The second son told him, I'm going to go, but don't go. And Jesus said, I tell you what. He told him, he said, prostitutes and tax collectors will get in before you.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Now, that's powerful.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
powerful.
Wow.
Yeah.
You see, so you can't judge people. You
Right.
don't know who people, you don't know.
Right.
I don't, and so religious people get so caught up with people, what they saying, and cuss. People been cussing all their life.
Right.
And if you go back and do a study on cuss words,
Right.
that's just who they are. Some people are dealing with stuff. Some people got stuff. Some people hadn't come into the knowledge. So who are you to put somebody in
Mm-mm.
hell? Who are you?
Right.
Right.
Let's look at who you are.
Right.
So I'm trying not to get,
The
but y'all got me
audacity to
excited.
judge. Yeah, and I mean
Yeah.
that's for real.
Yeah.
Because I think
Yeah.
at this time too, when things are happening and changing in people, it's important to have real conversations so that you can encourage
Right.
the spirit of God in each other,
Right.
and encourage your brother
Right.
instead of saying, well, you know what, you look stupid or you're acting weird. No,
Right.
continue to let God do that in you, and it
Right.
may not be what he's doing in me, but be encouraged in what you're doing.
Right.
Right.
Because as people change, then you have to encourage that confidence. And the more we have conversations, shine light on,
Right.
how that
Right.
works. You know what I mean? And I've always said, I believe like real change comes from inspiration. And inspiration comes from the inside. You have to first be changed or moved in an inward place.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And the
Right.
Bible says, who can know the heart of a man but God? So,
Right.
it takes the moving of God on a person's heart, and that real change begins to happen from the inside. Now, you can have somebody that's over you, that's being very regimented,
Mm-hmm.
and having you, practice and do certain things, which I think was a lot of the things that came up in religion,
Mm-hmm.
but that was the bridge
Mhm.
that got us to this side of the river.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
There was a period where you had to be regimented. You really didn't understand what was, we was praying
He
in
suffered it
season
to
and
be
out of
so.
season. Right. Right.
He suffered it to be so.
Absolutely.
It was-
But now
Right, because
you
it was a
know.
period somebody else had to tell you if you got it.
Right.
You ain't got it, get back down there.
Right.
So it is what it is. You
Right.
get back down there. You
Right.
ain't ready.
Right. And that's crazy because you done went from that day to now you got to know it for yourself.
Right. So
You know what I mean? So
Right.
it definitely has changed. It definitely has changed.
we appreciate the call. 'Cause-
Okay then.
Thanks for the call.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so now I don't know how
But I think too, we talked about the church for a quick second, and we talked about and I think I'm gonna say this too. We're engaging too on the political scene, and I think everybody see that's what's happening too.
Right.
We started out there, but on the political scene, we can encourage each other in those areas too.
Right.
Look for good brothers around you.
Mhm.
Encourage them and support them. And
Right.
really look for somebody to stand for, because I'm pitching it out there like this because we got to flip the mindset of being, the victim. We're standing in a beautiful place in history right now. We are alive, first of all, and we are aware,
Mhm.
of where we at and what's going on, and we can make the difference. We've always made history,
Right.
and we can do it again as a people. This is always, I mean, like Joe was saying, coming in, the efforts and stuff that's been, practiced in the past to erase the history that we create.
Right.
We have always made history. Let's continue to do that. At this point in time, we can absolutely turn around a political playing field. That's nothing to be short-sighted of.
Oh, yeah.
And I think a lot of this fear and a lot of this and this anger is coming from the fact that, okay, well, these people are realizing their power.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's coming down to this new minority that's being created in this country where, previously the minority is going to be the majority and the majority is becoming the minority. So that's a problem, and it's a power struggle in this, that ensues over this, because you might think my heart is like yours and I want to use this power in this position to execute as you did to me.
Right.
But my wisdom is higher than yours. When I come with a higher wisdom and say, you know what, that was what was wrong with your system. You had to break a gap and infuse some hate in there because you didn't want me on the level.
Right.
But when you build it from the ground up and you do it right, then everybody prospers. Then you got something that can sustain itself, that's running, generationally.
Yeah.
And I think that's just really where we at. And a lot of people in the society realize it. Some realize it and some don't. Some don't want to accept it. Some want to do something drastic to, thrust the hand of power back,
Right.
to where it
Right.
is. But
They won't keep,
it won't
keep control.
it won't. And and if we're doing the things like we just said here today for each man, and it don't matter, brothers, wherever you at, You know, you're a man, and it ain't even about, you know, nobody coming and trying to tell you heart. Go within your own heart. You know within yourself what is right and what is wrong, and strive for what is right. Strive to do the thing that's right. The lie that you've been telling, try to figure out a way you can let it go. Let it go. Whatever it may be, in whatever relationship it may be.
I want to say this too. Well, don't be moved from who you are, what you are. I respect the brother right here. He told me his stance. He didn't move because of other people, what they said. When we first met, I remember the first time I met Disco, when he was saying about, you know, who he was, and ain't nothing wrong with that. Don't be moved. That's what a man does.
Right. Stand your ground.
Stand your ground. Period. And every man, because I'm going to tell you something. When a man is moved, he loses. When you're moved out your house, when you're moved out your relationship, when you lose your trust of your woman, everything. When you're moved, you lose. Stand your ground and be a man. It's something to be there. Even if you ain't got what you need, stay there.
You know, my philosophy of that is that it's too hard for me to be somebody I ain't.
There you go.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So all due respect to whoever who meet me, this it.
Got to do you.
That's what I'm saying.
This it. Ain't no. This it.
See, like I said, the parable to that story was the main meaning to that story was the first son looked his dad in the face and told him, "I ain't going." He was real.
Yeah.
Right.
If you didn't want to go, you should have said, "I ain't going."
Right.
Or if you ain't with it, I ain't with it. I don't understand it. I ain't with that yet.
Right.
Right.
But the second son said, "You know what? I have to go," and didn't go.
Right.
And then so the second son it caught more hell than the first one, who was just real. And that's all God looking for.
Man, that's
He
He looking
and-
for some
and
real men.
that's so much hard work
Yeah.
to wake up every morning deciding who you gonna be to impress the cat
Right.
at your job or something.
Right.
That's hard work.
It
That's
is.
hard work.
It is. And then the thing about
Cause what if he?
you
Cause
look
what
at
if
it
he?
like
What if he
this.
changed his mind, D? Like when I met you in '99, 2000, you knew from ain't nothing changed.
Ain't nothing changed. Lost your hair, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is what it is. So when a man come and they say what they say, I respect a man's position. And I think us as brothers, that's what we got to learn.
We
to
got to
do.
let a man
We
get
got to
it.
let him, hey, look, bro, you a man.
Right.
And you ain't earn that. I give you the respect because you are a man.
Right.
You ain't nothing special. I respect you. You respect me. But a lot of time we don't get that. We don't get it where we go. Sometimes we don't get it from our women. Sometimes you don't get it in the church. You don't. So I thank God for this forum, this platform, where we can just put some good stuff out there. Because I'm gonna tell you,
Yeah.
if every man start buckling and being moved, our houses are. You think it's a
The whole
mess.
community gone.
How about what y'all fellas think about standards? What you think about standards with the men with us these days? Like what do you think we the reason why these girls thinking twerking is what we want?
Right.
Because our standards has changed. Is that a fair question?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's to a certain extent true.
Right.
I think that's true. I think we got the unfathered generation along with the I mean, just the culture of the music, the music perpetuated. It started out back in our,
But
Uncle
I'm
Luke
but I'm
and all
saying
that back in the day.
I'm saying the attention these women are asking for is because I believe our standards has changed.
Exactly.
Like I told somebody, if you go down Carl Parker right now, and I love all sizes. Let's say 450 pounds.
Okay.
Female, walking around with some spandex. Somebody gonna blow that horn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody gonna blow that horn to make her feel like what she got on is what she need to have on.
Right.
Right.
So I'm saying somewhere down the line, our standards,
Done fell off.
not just on that standpoint, on everything,
Yeah.
has really changed. Where these women say, you know what? If he ain't gonna accept it, guess what? 3 or 4 more will.
Right.
Knowing what she doing is terribly wrong.
Right.
But because that cat she in front of saying, you know what? I'm gonna take it, baby. I'm saying whatever it may be, and she gonna keep doing it.
Right.
But even though it's wrong.
I think it's down to we done got to the point where they self-esteem that low.
Yeah.
Because if all you got to do, no, I mean I know they
It's the
might be
truth.
mad, but the women.
Yeah.
So listen, it
First
first
they
started
chatted,
out
they
when
find a husband.
I mean, hey, when it first started out, it was just a workout outfit.
Right.
You know what I mean? They'd run back to the gym. You might have to run in the store right quick, to grab something and this and that. Now, it's their outfit. with the right.
ball thing on their head, the shower cap.
outfit.
Yeah,
Come on now.
It's
And
But if they posted it and didn't get no likes,
they're suicidal.
I'm saying
they
they
wouldn't
do it.
They wouldn't do it.
Exactly. That's
They
my
wouldn't-
point. A
say-
lot.
if-
Yeah,
if
Oh, yeah, they wouldn't do it
put
if
up,
we-
if
yeah,
they
yeah.
put up a post
correct.
with say a swimsuit on,
Correct.
and then they posted another one with
Church
you
outfit.
know, well, I ain't gonna say church outfit, just a nice outfit.
Right.
And the one with the nice outfit got more likes,
Right.
and they saw there's a trend, then this one over here is gonna
Wouldn't
fall
do-
off.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
But you always have, like you say, it's cats out here, they thirsty or whatever else. They, first it was just a like,
Right.
then it was a comment, and then you slide in the DM, and now
Right.
what you see? What's your
Right.
Cash App?
Right. Right.
I'm gonna send you some money
Right.
And I don't
because
even
you
know you.
posted a picture.
Yeah.
Right. Man,
For what?
get out of here.
Yeah.
For what? Right.
And it be so funny.
Right.
Some of
And
them be
then what that gonna make you do?
But you talk about low self-esteem, it's on the guy side too.
Correct.
Why would a guy feel like he need to pay
Hey.
her.
in order to get her attention?
Say that.
Yeah,
Say
you
that.
need to be ashamed of
Say
yourself,
that.
bro. If y'all out there doing that, man,
Oh,
shame
they
on
hold on. They doing more than that. They doing the Insta,
Man, that's pathetic, man.
just for-
fans only.
Only fans.
they putting their debit card, credit card to see a chick do whatever she want to do,
Right.
whatever it is.
Right.
Please.
She got your whole information
That's crazy, bro.
on some chick you don't even know.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And for what?
And
But then, bro, what part of your game is that?
That's what I'm
That's why I
saying.
be trying to, you know what I mean? We got to raise the envelope because, like you say, if you hiding behind the phone, clicking and liking this,
Let me tell you how bad it is
you're
though.
a part of the problem.
Let me tell you how bad it is. All these women done capitalize on that because they got these little gimmicks where they have a fine female profile, will send you a thing and say hello,
right.
and you send it back and she's trying to flip money.
Right.
So these how thirsty these dudes are. That's the bait now.
Wow.
They are
Just a
so
picture.
there's a picture of a female would try to get your account.
Right.
You would give her your account to send you $200 Western Union, but she write down 00. You get back 5,000 before Wells Fargo come knocking on your damn door.
Wow.
Or Bank of America.
Right.
But my point is,
Right.
the icon of a naked woman, half naked woman, is getting the attention from these grown ass men
And pulling them in.
and putting them in.
Right.
Now, all due respect, I'm gonna get back to let you get your show. Back in my days, that's how we got it. That's how we catch them at the club. We send the bad one in there because he
Right.
know he gonna be thirsty.
Right.
He ain't thinking.
Oh, yeah.
You feel
Oh, yeah.
me? So it's always been there.
They gonna
It
flash
just,
the pot.
it's just getting worse. These girls are getting younger at 14, 15,
Wow.
16.
Right.
That's when I was coaching high school ball. I was terrified. Not of
Right.
me,
Right.
just what I was seeing. Like these chicks 16, 15, and what come out their mouth was
Right.
crazy.
But see, that's why I say we have to start with the conversation with the brothers.
Yeah.
If you can stop, you know what I mean? Come on, man. How many you need? They wear
She
what
said
make
what
them
now?
feel good? I mean, but every
Well,
day.
Let me say this. We changed, like y'all said. Because, okay, go back. Remember back in the day, maybe I'm showing my age here, but remember back in the day when you called a girl
Out of name.
okay, you
Yeah.
know what I'm
Right.
you call them that, they be ready. That's fight.
Right.
Yeah, you gonna get
Now
hit.
it's a term
Yeah.
of endearment.
Right.
Now they call themselves that.
Right. And they homegirl.
And who started that? We did. The men started calling them that. We started out of anger, and then it went from, oh, you mind. Then
Right.
we kept you. And for long, you see how
Right.
just repetitive.
Right.
And then now they call themselves that.
Right.
Go figure that one.
Right. Well, listen, if the woman that anybody out there feel like your spandex is, you got a right to go. I mean, just explain. I don't know. Like I said, I try to be, modern women are independent and you own your sexuality. Not trying to take any of that from you.
Right.
Right.
You own your sexuality completely. But I mean, is your sexuality to be paraded about? I mean, is it, and then let me ask you this. If that is who you are and then you meet a man and the man marry you and he's uncomfortable with it, how do you feel about that? Will you be more discreet when you marry? Or is this just, you know what I mean?
Right.
I think it's I hear that argument a lot of times, and my opinion is a woman can wear what she want to wear,
Okay.
but you also have to be prepared for
What
What comes with it?
what may come with it.
Right.
Now, if you're ready for that, by all means, you know, when you grown and you can take care of yourself, the woman. If you know, if you like a short skirt and your chest hanging out, and you comfortable with that, and that's really you, that's how you feel. You know, like they say, if you got it, flaunt it, or whatever it is,
Right.
then don't be upset when somebody approaches you in a way that you may not want to approach them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if I'm out and I'm in a say I'm in the club somewhere, and I got money hanging out my pocket, I got 4 big gold chains on, I got a bunch of rings.
Right.
I can't get mad if somebody wants to rob me.
Exactly.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I can't look like, well, why they?
Right. Why you
Why
coming
you
at
bothering
me?
me?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Now, if that's what I want to do,
Right.
and I'm comfortable going out like that,
Be ready for it.
then I have to be ready for
What comes with it?
what comes with it.
Right.
I got a question for him. We're gonna go church question. How many women you think would still come to church if it was a dress code?
That's a good question. Let me give me a second. How many women do I think would come to church?
If it was a dress code, meaning back in our, you know, the today.
Somebody if their hair go back to
today?
the old.
No, if they go back to the old, the blouse of their ankles, no
Nobody.
chest showing, no print showing,
I
no,
don't think so.
no
I don't
cleavage.
think- no. Now, don't get me wrong. You can still dress and be nice.
We talking about
And
no
be
prints.
modest.
We talking about no prints on crack up front, no skin from neck. We talking about like grandma, like
Right.
auntie.
I don't think you get many. I put it like that. I just
Yeah.
put it like that.
Right.
Because I would say my answer would be because today's time, most people know that he didn't come for your clothes.
Right.
So you can come the way you are. At the same time, we don't need to see all your business.
Right.
I don't want to see your business because you put stuff in jeopardy when you do that.
Right.
So yeah, he didn't come for your clothes. So a lot of people, if you go online, look, a lot of these churches, man, people coming in their jeans. People are.
Right.
I mean, it's just the time we live in. We're living in a time of more truth, where everybody know that God come for your heart. But it's here.
Because guess what? I'm gonna tell you this right. This is a funny thing. Way back then, when they was wearing the dresses all the way down to the ankles, folks were still getting pregnant,
Right.
unmarried in the church. So
You saying
the lust
it's
is
how they-
in-
it's how
the
they-
lust is in your heart.
It's
You
how they-
can't
I got
hide
It
it.
ain't your clothes.
I
It ain't in your clothes.
I got you.
You know, yeah.
It was just a topic I want to throw out.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
That's all.
That's a real one. But, you know, I think it goes down to, for me, with the, you know, I don't know. I think there's a way to do everything that you can be classy. I think, and this is just because I did say something about the tights or whatever. I don't want to, you know.
How about
you
your
know.
lady? How about if you got a lady? How you want her dressing?
To be honest, when we're in our space, meaning we're away from what's familiar, like if I'm out of town, put the 2-piece on, put the shorts on. I appreciate that, but I would not parade her around my friends and my family and people that we have to see. You know what I mean? There are certain elements of your relationship that should be private.
Right.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm out of town or whatever. Yeah, take that outfit. That's the one I want you to wear when we go out of town. You know, I like that one. Or even when we in town and we might go out, because I try not to go places where I'm gonna see everybody. You know, but you know, wear this or wear that. But I feel like if it was something that you were doing every day on a daily basis, you know, with the, you know, the tights and all this and that. I mean, if you're not around me, then I might be cool with it. But, you know, I don't really care for it. You know what I mean? I'm a man and I see it and I know what my first thoughts are. So I know what any man, you know what I mean? And the thing is, I think as a woman, you have to think, do you want a person to see you for you first, or you want them to see your body?
Right.
You know, and then, you know, at the same time, I know you think, ain't nobody thinking about them when I get dressed. Well, you know, well, then just do you.
Yeah.
And when I say do you, if you come out with the tights, then that means you want the you that want us to look, put the tights on. That's what it mean to be. So, I mean, that's just being honest. You got to know people gonna look.
I mean,
You know what I mean? I heard somebody say, oh, well, I'm real shy, but then you go put on some, some cuts and all this type of stuff. No, you ain't shy. You know exactly what this does.
And all too at
You
the
know.
same time, it's like you said, when you with your woman or
Your
you with-
woman, yeah.
she know you.
She know you.
She know you. The type of person you are, she know that okay, I'm
Right.
not finna put this on and we go.
Right.
But when we where we are, so
Right.
you know.
Or if you, in my case, pull up at the shop because I work in the barber shop. Well, baby, can you come out to the car because I'm not appropriate to come in the shop. You know what I
Right.
mean? Certain
Right.
places I won't show up.
Right.
Certain kind of ways out of respect for you.
Right.
And that's just, you know what I mean? I think something like that, you wouldn't really have to tell a woman
Right.
that is in tune with her man and know, pretty much where their standards are. And then women, pay attention to your man, and men pay attention to your woman.
I was getting ready to go there. That's
Yeah,
where I
pay
wanna go.
attention to your
man
folks.
needs to pay attention to his woman.
Yeah, pay attention to your woman.
Yeah.
We got somebody want to say something about these tights. Go ahead, caller. You on J.Gerrard?
I do. I would love to say something. I love to say something about this conversation with tights.
Okay, well, let's hear it.
First and foremost.
Okay, I think we can hear your
Okay,
TV
first-
in the background.
Turn your TV down.
Okay. First and foremost,
Here go the
I'm
first
turning
of
it down.
all.
Hold on.
Okay, Disco.
All right.
Disco, Mike.
No.
Okay,
First
go ahead,
and
go ahead.
foremost, what you all have to understand, it's what type of ladies or women you all are talking about.
Right.
Now, you talking about some showgirls or you talking about ladies? We are all women by birth, but we are ladies by craft. And we learned from our mothers. A lot of these girls don't have mothers or didn't have mothers to teach them how to dress. And it's not to be capitalized just because you're a man and we showing something. They just don't know how to dress. But then what does that say about you?
Okay.
So if you looking at that lady or that person in some type of way or she shouldn't be, a lot of these girls, they really don't know how to dress. They look at their peers and they think they can do it. No one has told them your body is not proportioned. No one has told them compliment your accent part. So to get on that and say, no, that's just life. And these are a lot of ladies, a lot of girls that simply just has not been taught. And that I choose to believe that than to feel like we all trying to entice you all that way. We don't have to do that.
Well, that's true to a certain
And
extent.
then another thing, and
Go ahead.
how you looking at them.
Say, why am I looking?
That's what men are supposed to do.
Oh, you said, how are we looking at them?
No, I said, and then look at how you look. You all supposed to look at us.
Right.
Right. I mean, that's the
Go back
natural
to
part
go
about
back
it.
Go back to
But
Samson
hold on,
and
let me say
Delilah.
this,
They
caller.
was-
That's the natural part, okay? We can look at
That's
you. Hold on. Let me say that's the natural part of it is we can look at you, right?
Right.
That's natural. Okay?
Right.
The unnatural part that you are controlling by putting on these tights is how we look at you.
And that's the
You get what
part
I'm
that
saying?
most
Because I can
men
look
don't-
at the same woman with tights on, with a regular outfit on, and I won't look at her that way. If she present
Right.
herself loosely and unknowing, then
Right.
I'm gonna see her that way. If she come up loose, she gonna be
Right.
loose. And a lot of the ones we talking
and-
about are the ones, because we talking about the ones, look, that's on Instagram, that got the tights on, that got they got their ass turned toward the camera, so
Okay.
they know these are not foolish. This
Okay, so
they
you-
using
okay, well,
they
yeah.
using what
Okay,
they
you
got.
talking- yeah.
Go
You're
ahead.
talking about you talking about 2-3 different types of
Right.
ladies.
Right.
So
Right.
I just wanted to come on to make sure we clear this. This is not what we all
It ain't
ladies do.
everybody. It's just 98, 90.
And we don't, and we all ladies don't feel that we have to do that. We don't need to
true.
do that.
That's true. That's true. No,
And
absolute,
so If
absolute.
the ones that you are seeing and that this is what they have come to do. This is what they feel they need to
Right.
do to get
Right.
attention.
Right.
But when you have grown up in a household where your mother have made sure you had healthy self-esteem,
Right.
made sure that you have a balanced outlook, you don't need to do it. You don't.
No.
Hey,
Right.
You're right.
I'm at an age of myself. I don't feel like I need to do that
Right.
to pull a man.
Right. Right.
Okay, so most of the time, the women that you all are talking about that Those are the kind that you might be drawn to because that's what's pulling you.
Mm-hmm.
A real lady, you got to put some work in.
That's
There you
right.
go.
That's it.
Well, we
That's
appreciate
it.
that. We appreciate that call, caller, and thank you for calling the J.Gerrard Show.
Thanks for the call.
Thank you. Thank you.
We up against it.
Yeah, we done ran up into the last few minutes. Just want to wrap it up. Thank Joe for being here. Joe Liner,
Appreciate it.
one half of We the Blueprint podcast.
Oh,
When do
yeah.
y'all come on? And how do they?
On YouTube right now, we'll be up on other platforms, the audio. So we'll be on iTunes as well as what's the other one? Anchor and whatever the podcast platforms are. We'll be on that. Just the audio. Probably the next few days. But for right now, you can catch the video, the full thing on YouTube at We the Blueprint.
Okay, Elijah, you got anything?
I just wanted to say it was a different show.
It was.
It wasn't what we had laid out,
Not
but
at all. But we'll be
it
back.
went the way it went. But I will say this to the brothers and not necessarily brothers as well. Just stay where you are. Don't be moved by people in situations where people don't believe or see you like you see you.
Mm-hmm.
Stay strong, and that's all I got to say.
That's it. Thank you all for joining us this week.
This is further proof of what Ant says that you've been running from your calling. I realized that today listening to you.
Who?
What Ant says all the time.
Oh.
You running from your calling. Yeah. You see him, Ant?
Who?
He running.
You know what I always say to Ant
You
when he
running.
at the shop? I'm gonna say it on the air too.
What?
He lying. Hey, thank y'all for joining us this week. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Peace.